Thanks again, Leslie, for hopping on to an episode of Untapped Stories. Super excited to chat, man. I know we were talking a bit before show, and you've been a coach on our platform for a while. But pickleball, I mean, we both agreed, it's just exploding across the country. So I'm finally glad to have a pickleball coach on here to get your thoughts on the industry and the game. For parents and athletes who haven't seen your profile before, they haven't done any kind of like pickleball training, but they know that the sport is really cool and they want to get into it. Maybe for them, what got you into pickleball, and what's your take on why the industry is just taking off right now?
I got into pickleball in early 2023, so not that long ago. I read an NPR article about just making your cardio fun. I really liked ping pong growing up. I played a little bit of tennis in high school, so why not try pickleball out? Like most people, got obsessed right as I started playing. Yeah, it's been wonderful. It's been a really nice community of people. You play with 13-year-olds, you play with 70-year-olds, and either of those age groups can beat you on any given day, which is fun. But yeah, I would say just the community of it, that it was created by two guys that wanted to see their kids like be able to play a sport. And so I think that approachability to pickleball is why it's exploding, because you see 50, 60, 7-year-olds that are looking for a reason to get outside and have some fun. They know a bunch of their friends play this new sport, so they try it out.
How hard is it to get involved? Is it mostly like you got to have a couple of friends who know the local courts, or is it a lot of like pickup nowadays? How does
I would say like most gyms offer some sort of like intro to pickleball like course where you can go take that for free, and they're kind of just trying to get you in their door. But I think taking really like a 1 or 2 hour either lesson or course somewhere is really all you need to start. I think you could like watch a YouTube video, but I think it's more like the experience and going through the motions, and some of the things people still forget, weeks later, like the scoring at first, saying your score, their score, and then whether you're the first or second server. A lot of people get confused on little things like that, but it's just time spent.
It's a good touch up too, though. Like if you haven't ever played, you don't want to be that person showing up not knowing any of the rules. It's kind of like you can probably pick up the athleticism piece, but knowing the game is helpful.
They do. Like I run a King's Court once a week, and I'd say every week there's probably 1 or 2 people that show up that have never been or never played, and they're always really nervous about it. But it's so easy to just be like, oh, join this low court. Let's walk you through the rules as you get going. I'll give you pointers here and there. So it is that approachable, and even if you're nervous, I'd say just show up somewhere and people will take you in their wing. Even like an open play at some park at the city you go to, people will absolutely help you out.
That's awesome. The community pieces, I've heard, it's awesome and good to get involved with. Yeah. What about for the coaching piece? I know you've given a lot of lessons when it comes to people who are just starting out in pickleball. Maybe what's one misconception or typical thing they don't get right, but if they did it right from the beginning, it would help them really enjoy the game and play probably for a lot longer.
I'm like of the opinion that if you're just starting pickleball, you're like first, second, third, fourth lesson should all just be like focused on your forehand drive, because so many shots come from that motion. Your serve, your return, playing at the net. So it's my opinion, if you can get that one motion down, really focused, really compact and easy, that you can go out and play with 80% of people that play pickleball. And then after that, it's like learning how to think about pickleball. Like pickleball is sort of like, a sport meets chess, because there's at the highest level of pickleball, like the strategy going on is kind of wild.
Yeah, I'm sure it's levels to it, but in the beginning, like you said, if you can get, that's what most people I assume want, is to get 80% of the way there.
Yeah.
And then just be able to play and not feel like they're uncomfortable.
Or not feel like they're like bringing their teammate down, I think is how people want to get to. And I'd say just learning the proper technique of a really good forehand drive and like having someone that can teach that to you well is really the best way to start out and to go from there.
For somebody you've trained so far, somebody you've had lessons with, has there been any big jump? And I know pickleball is a little bit different than other sports. You're not like trying to get a college scholarship like some of our others, but have you seen people go from newbies, beginners, feeling awkward or nervous to like pickleball enthusiasts, and now they're kind of like approaching your level?
Yeah, definitely. One of the guys I recently started teaching, he's only been playing about a year. I like asked him to play in some tournaments with me because I was like, hey, you have a lot of the mental aspects, right? You don't have like the perfect technique in all these ways, but I think playing pickleball the right way, thinking about it the right way, goes a long way as far as like being a good partner and like being a good teammate. Yeah. So I think even if you're not like there on like having a perfect backhand roll or whatever that is, as long as you know I should be working my way to the kitchen line, they could speed it up at me on any given shot, and I need to be ready. Like, and to not get a negative attitude, because there's going to be big swings in pickleball. Like, you're going to have 3 or 4 points where you're sucking, your teammates having a tough job, and a lot of people just get down there, and then it sort of starts spiraling.
What about maybe people who they played sports growing up? They know pickleball is kind of like it's the new option for people who want to get back into sports without having to like, really put a lot of pressure on their body physically. If maybe it's an older clientele, maybe somebody who's like 40, 50, 60 beyond, what would your take or your thought be to them if they're a little bit scared about getting into it? Because it's a quick gimmick. You got to be on your feet. It's not as intense as tennis, though. Like, you're not going to have all the same issues, but
it's not as taxing on the body as tennis for sure. But I mean, if you're getting into it in your older age and maybe you don't have a strong cardio base outside of that, I would like kind of take it easy, because there are a lot of injuries that happen in pickleball, with like Achilles, with ankles, and it's really just people not realizing that it is like you're going to make quick lateral movements. And if you're not used to like working your hips and your legs, you can hurt yourself. So being careful and being mindful of like how your body feels. Like, I know people that have been like, oh, I tore my Achilles and it was sore for weeks prior, and I kept playing on it. I was like, oh yeah. And listen to your body. Like, and that's been hard for me at like my age, because I just turned 40, or I turned 40 in like a couple weeks. And so there are days where I'm like, probably shouldn't play for 4 hours today. Well, else in the past, I would have done that and had no problem.
4 hours is a lot, man. I'm 32, and even the thought of like an hour and a half of basketball now, I'm like, I could probably do a cardio-wise, but you're running always the risk of injury. But that is smart, though. I mean, just kind of maybe a heads up to people who haven't been active in a while and they want to get into pickleball. Maybe just do a little bit of cardio prep beforehand, or just like stretch, do all the little things they tell you for any athlete, any sport. That way you can avoid the injuries. Because I think it is a lot of fun, but I'd hate to see somebody go out there, not know that it's that active, and then wind up getting hurt, like you said.
Well, and a lot of coaches don't take that aspect seriously, because they're in a good enough athletic place that they're not going to get really. But people that are coming out there aren't necessarily there, and so you need to just be mindful of your body. And like, I see people go for balls they shouldn't be going because their competitive brain like comes in. I'm like, and at the end of the day, you're just there for the community. You're there for the cardio. You're there for the fun. And you're going to keep having those things if your body's healthy.
And what is the aspect of pickleball? Because I'm actually curious too, that can have a 70-year-old compete with a very in shape 18-year-old. Is it just the nature of the court and it's smaller?
It works because it doubles. Like in singles pickleball, no, it's athleticism, and it can get kind of serious.
Okay.
But no, in doubles, it's because the amount of court you have to take up. If you're a really skilled player and you can read like the trajectory of the ball well, you can do it into your late age. You might not be speeding the ball up as much as your 20-year-old counterpart, but pickleball is really nice in that it's just about consistency. It's not about like ripping the ball the way it is in tennis. And like some of the most frustrating players you'll play against, you'd be like, they're not doing anything. They're just getting everything back. And it's just like they're waiting for you to make a mistake. And that's one of the like key takeaways from pickleball, is to not go for too much, just be consistent.
I remember my wife and I on our honeymoon, we were 2 days in and we're like, okay, we're kind of bored. We saw a pickleball court, so we probably just wound up playing pickleball one-on-one for like 6 straight days. It was amazing. But you hit the nail on the head. I think we played 2 older ladies, maybe in their 60s and 70s, and it was a tight game. My wife and I both played college sports, and I'm like, how are they doing this? Like, if we went on like a run right now, they couldn't even get off the track. But here we are, and they're smacking our butts in pickleball. I think that does make it fun, though, because you don't have to just be with kind of like another sport, basketball or baseball. If you don't play with people that have played at your level, it's kind of like the game can be a little bit different, but pickleball is equal for everybody, which makes it, I think, a ton of fun.
That part's great. There's a point where you get to a level you want to play with people around your level, but there's no reason why you won't. Like, if you're going to open play in a park, that you're not going to help someone out that's new to it or that's below your level. You're not going to just, rip it at them. You shouldn't.
I've probably seen some people. What about that? And before one of my last questions, what about that high level strategy you were talking about? Pickleball players who are past the beginner stage, they played for a couple of years and they're proficient. How intense does it get at that point if you're trying to win like a doubles tournament with really competitive players?
Yeah, I would say for me personally, like ping pong was a thing that like the best man at my wedding I've known since the third grade. He had this joke where our PE teacher taught us ping pong, and by the end of the class, I was beating him. And so like paddle sports come really easy to me, and so when I picked up pickleball, I got really good to this very point where I was like a 4-2 player, and I would say from that point on, it's really hard to get better because it's not just like athleticism and hand-eye coordination at that point. It's actually how to pull out your opponent's wide, or when to attack, or letting balls go. Like that's one of the biggest skills to learn, is like letting an out ball go. I see a lot of people hit balls that are going to be out. And so there's just so many different things that you need to like get better at. And it's not, I'm just going to go out there and forehand drive the ball every time. No, now you're at the net, and it's like, how aggressive am I? Should I take a step back from the line? So there's just so many different ways to go about it. As far as once you get to like 4-0 and up, I would say it's sort of a creep or a crawl, unless you have like 4 or 5 years of tennis background.
Yeah, I'm sure the tennis background, we've had a lot of people do tennis and pickleball coaching. I'm sure it makes a difference.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, it's just reps. Like it's not the same sport, but it's like they have all these reps with this paddle sport that once they come over to pickleball, it's not a big difference.
That's really cool. And I played on my honeymoon maybe once or twice after. I'd love to see a true competitive pickleball game though, like one of those tournaments. I've seen ex-athletes do it, people that have just picked up pickleball, but it's so cool to see it get like really competitive, like firing shots back and forth. It seems like it's just a fun thing to be a part of.
Yeah, I've only been to one like professional tournament. It was an MLP tournament, which is like a Major League Pickleball. So it's a really cool format where it's every team is 2 guys, 2 girls, and then they play every like combination of that against another team of 2 guys, 2 girls. So they'll play 2 girls versus 2 guys. They'll play mixed first, and then 2 guys first, and if it's tied after all 4 games, then they do like a 1-on-1 dream breaker where everyone plays 1-on-1 again. It's really cool. So to see like the pros do that, and like to see Annalie Waters and Ben Johns, like, 10 feet from your face, it was really cool.
Is the MLP, and maybe before my actual last question, is that growing a ton? Like, do they have a lot of different?
I mean, everything's like, tenfolding every year, right? So like it was like pickleball for professionals was hard to make a living 3 years ago, and now it's like they're probably getting overpaid a little bit because they're trying to grow the sport so much right now. And so the difference between what it was 4 years ago, I mean, I think Annalie Waters, she's 19 years old. She made $4 million last year or something from pickleball.
Oh my God.
So you see a lot more high school kids and a lot more younger generation people getting into it now. Like the junior tour is exploding.
That's so cool. I never even thought that they would have a junior tour. Again, I'm novice to pickleball, but my 2.5-year-old and 1-year-old, I'm getting them a pickleball rack next time I go to the store.
Yeah. Like this is gonna pay for your college in 20 years.
That's amazing, man. Yeah. Wow. What about my last question, Leslie? Honestly, this has been so fun. But for people who don't know, again, you're one of our top pickleball coaches. Maybe just for anybody on the fence, whether it's if they're in your area or if they're not, maybe walk them through what you would typically do in a one-on-one session. Like, how can you help them get better? How can you help them love the game? Just to give people an idea of what training with someone like you would be like.
Yeah, I mean, it's really about like finding out where they're at in their like pickleball. Like if they're a 4-0 player looking to get better, I think you always have to start with the drive technique, just because it's so important. Just to make sure that even at the 4-0 level, maybe it's not exactly as crisp as it should be. So I focus on that first, sort of go from there. Like maybe they want to learn a good flick, or maybe they want to learn how to play well with the doubles partner, because there's so many different ways. Like who should be taking this middle ball depends on so many different aspects. So it really just depends where the pickleball player is. But like most people I teach are just getting the pickleball. And so it's really about honing down the right like technique of forehand drive. And it starts with just like them dropping a ball and just having a really compact swing, short and sweet through the court, and generating topspin from that. And then just seeing where they're going wrong and trying to work out different ways to fix that.
That's awesome. I think it's the fundamentals in every sport matter a lot, but especially pickleball. Just And I see it too in terms of not that you're trying to be, if you want to be a pro, that's fine. But just to enjoy the game, you do have to get the fundamentals down. Otherwise, you'll be floundering out there and you really want to enjoy your time when you go to play.
It's like playing guitar. It's not fun until you get to a certain level. And then it's like, oh, this is a lot of fun. But until you're there, it's like, this is frustrating. So I think pickleball is the same way, that like you need to get to a place where you can go out, play with anyone, and it's a good time. And once you get there, the pickleball's very rewarding.
That's really cool. Awesome, man. This has been a ton of fun. I gained some pickleball knowledge here. I can't wait to share this one because, again, we're getting so much interest for pickleball. And obviously, you're an awesome coach. So appreciate you making the time. And yeah, we'll let you know when it's going to go live.